visiting Chalamet, and now it's on my resume. It's not my face they see, cause they don't know me, and that's okay. These are the parts I play, filling in plot holes with all sorts of roles, cause there's no small roles, no small roles, no small roles.
Welcome to No Small Roles. This is the show where I speak with fellow actors about their careers and about some of their smaller roles in big movies and TV, and how these roles are in fact not at all small for the actors who play them. Now, today's guest is my friend Shawn Fitzgibbon. He is one of the nicest, kindest, most humble, genuine, natural talents that I know. I am so happy to have you here, Shawn. Thank you for coming.
I paid him to say that, but
yeah, that was only $30.
I know. Thank you very much for having me. I just want to say I love this. I love the show. I watch them all.
Thank you.
It's great to see local actors. You know, you're talking to your peers, and you're getting advice. You're getting tips. We're all kind of commiserating at the same time. But it's very inspirational. And you just had my buddy Dave Curtis on a couple months ago too.
Such a nice guy, like yourself, just so kind, so genuine. Yeah, he's such a good guy.
And you're a great guy too, Ian. Absolutely. I think the first time I got a chance to talk to you was on Black Mass. We were shooting outside Southie High. It was like August. It was 98 degrees. And it was supposed to be springtime. Everyone's wearing like wool coats. It was really, really, really. I think that's the first time I got a chance to kind of chat with you.
I don't remember specifically the location, but
wow,
good. I have the worst memory in all the world.
Me too.
I just know I've spoken to you many times, like before auditions and stuff. I remember our callback for Jacob's Ladder, seeing you there, and we chatted for a minute, and we were both kind of in the zone.
By the way, I never got a chance to thank you. So when we had the callback, when we had the in callback for defending Jacob, we had we had the Burlington.
Did I say Jacob's Ladder?
It's either way. Jacob Ladder Part 2. It's coming out.
Okay. Oops.
So this was just one particular part. It's like, it's 4 different scenes. It's 12 pages of dialogue. And I ran it through. I worked on it for 2 weeks. I got it down pat. And then we're sitting down in the chairs before we went in that room. I had my very, very first panic attack. I've never had one before. And I was sweating. I thought I was having a heart attack. And I remember you were sitting next to you, like, you okay? I said, yeah, I don't know if I could do this. I'm super, super nervous. But you were just like, don't worry. You got it, man. Don't worry about it. I don't know what it was. It was the timbre of your voice, but everything just went. And had I not had you there, I would have tanked the audition. So thank you very much. That was very comforting. Thank you.
I personally, I can get nervous before auditions. It's unpredictable. Sometimes I'm like, why? I'm so prepared. And so I totally understood. I didn't understand it was, maybe that intense for you.
Yeah, but, it's weird. It's only happened to me another time before, because I've never had a panic attack. You always get that nervous energy now. It's not jitters anymore because we've been doing it long enough. And I think it's good if you're a little nervous, because if you're not, I think you're a little cocky and you're a little overconfident. So you might
a little overconfident. But I never feel that good.
Oh yeah. But there was a pilot for a TV show, and one of the leads got COVID, and I got a phone call out of nowhere from Ann Moville from LTA Casting. She said, "Look, here's 3 scenes. You have an hour. Tape one."
Oh my God!
The next day, I got a phone call from the director and says, "Yep, you got it. This was Saturday, and you shoot Monday." And it was like 5 scenes. So I got.
Oh my God!
I'm able to memorize the dialogue pretty fast. It's one of the few things I can do. But I wasn't off book enough that I could work on it. So I'm driving. They're shooting in Rhode Island, and I don't know. I'm sweating. I felt like I was having a heart attack. So
you don't want to stop.
Well, that's that goes without saying. But yeah, that was the only second time that it happened. So yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry you went through that. I totally know the feeling. Well, I said in previous shows, like before I got the Julia thing I did, I was like, I hope I get COVID. Just let me get COVID. Let me get clipped by a car. Nothing deadly, just something that's going to take me out for a little bit. But I guess we're both grateful those things didn't happen and we did the jobs. But
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want to mention that I know you know this, but you've done some jobs that people might know you from, including a couple of Oscar winners: Mystic River, Manchester by the Sea, The Equalizer, Chasing Life, Defending Jacob, not Jacob's Ladder, Dexter, we were too young for that, Dexter, New Blood, Confess Fletch, Julia, The Instigators, Any Day Now, various indies and shorts that you've made along with your friend David Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot of stuff. I know there's some things coming up, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. But that's impressive stuff. And those are some rooms that would have made me nervous going into. Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about I don't know. I just remember. I mean, I don't know how long you've been doing this for. You've been doing this for quite some time.
On and off since like the late 90s.
Yeah. So I always wanted to do this. Now, back in the day in Boston and Rhode Island, that's where you're from originally, right? You're from Wakefield, right?
I was born there, but I never really lived there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
But back in the day, the only thing that we could hope for was extra work. That was like the best that we could hope for. So I did 10 years of that and took classes. And of course, we didn't have like the tools or the materials out there to kind of help us guide through. Everyone kind of had to try to figure that out on their own.
Yeah.
And, it takes time to, get your name out there, get your face up there, get the experience, and eventually go into those rooms. I've heard a lot of no's, but that's
we hear more of those than anything.
Yeah, it's the part of the business. Actually, we don't hear most of the no's.
No, that's the worst part. Hearing a no is like, yes, I got the actual, they said it to me.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that actors go through an unhealthy amount of rejection. It's 95% of the stuff you go out for, you don't get. So it's just kind of like,
it's crazy.
I think you have to, I've got to the point now where I'm comfortable where I feel that it's not personal. You got to
let it roll. I mean, you're fortunate, unlike a lot of people. You have a nice day job to fall back on, which I know is not your passion, but it's a good job. So, and it sounds like you have the flexibility to do, acting work when those opportunities come about.
Yeah, a lot of it's saving my vacation. Working extra days to accumulate those hours so that when the occasion does rise. Yeah. And the nice thing is at my present job now, and the last two of my bosses, they're both like movie nuts. So like when they found out that I was doing this, like, oh, really? It's like, yeah.
That's nice.
Got to take the day off to do a movie or a TV show. Oh, yeah.
And they're like, who are you going to work with?
Exactly. I promise them autographs. I'll never get them. It's fine. Although there was one person when we did Defending Jacob, one of my bosses at the time insisted that I get Chris Evans' autograph. I just scribbled something like,
what if they watch this? They're going to know.
There's probably a good chance they won't watch this.
Okay. What? Oh, but that's nice. They must have been excited to get the fake autograph.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was happy to give it to him. So why not?
Yeah, I heard, who was it for? One of our local friends, he got a video of him singing Happy Birthday to his son.
Chris, it was William Xaferis.
Yes. Yeah.
Another great guy, good local guy. I like Bill. He's great. He's awesome.
I'm going to get him on here one of these days. He said he would do it. So
that'd be great. He'd be a great guest.
He's
very
such
cool guy.
Great character actor too.
Yeah, he's perfect. There's he has a very distinct look, and but he's versatile. He's not just the big dude. He's got the chops to pull it off too.
He definitely does. If I didn't know him, I would be afraid of him. But he's like the nicest, warmest guy. So
yes,
after you.
Oh, I don't know about that. My ex might tell you different.
Oh, really? I'm gonna.
Oh, no, I'm just.
What, do you have a number?
No.
Live now. So Sean said.
Oh God.
I have a very important question.
Okay.
And you may have heard this question asked before, but do you prefer grilled cheese with or without tomato?
As long as the tomatoes are grilled.
Oh, like separately?
Preferably, yes. I don't like cold tomatoes. I don't know what it is. I love ketchup. I love, red sauce. But I don't know what it is. Everything has to be like equally hot.
But they get warm inside the grilled cheese. They might not be like grilled though, but
I know, but I'm picky, I guess. I don't know.
all right.
But
I had no
yes,
idea you were. I knew you were fancy, but not this fancy. So
somewhat fancy.
you are okay. So you're born in South Boston.
Mhm.
You are a pizza enthusiast. You
Yes.
spell Sean with a W, and you are exactly 2 months younger than me. So obviously, you're very smart.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you last
Thank
week.
you. Yes, yes.
Mine was 2 months ago, so you're late.
Well, happy belated. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I forgive you. So why, given all those things, especially the W in the Sean,
Mhm.
you're very smart. Why are you an actor? Like it sounds like it's something you wanted.
This is going to sound strange. It's going to sound terrible in my native accent. I apologize it for everyone.
I want to hear it.
Okay, so ever since I was a little kid, I think I got my love of movies and animation and TV shows from my dad, and I got my love of music from my mom.
Mhm.
So years down the road, my dad was an EMT. He worked for the fire department, but eventually he became a set medic.
Oh,
So that was kind of my first foray into visiting sets. But ever since I was a little kid, it was when I saw Star Wars, and everyone says this. I made him take me to see it in the movie theater 5 times when it was still out. It changed my life. It was just so real to me. I always wanted to do something with movies or animation because I was able to appreciate the painstaking process it takes to draw hand cells, model making, stop action. So I knew that I wanted to do something with that.
yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to watch, the action movies, and I thought I wanted to be a stunt person at one point. And I
Yeah.
did school plays, and I really enjoy that. Although at that time, it wasn't a very encouraging environment for the performing arts in South Boston.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I was my freshman year of high school. They were shooting a mini series. It was called The Kennedys of Massachusetts. It had William L. Peterson, Charles Durning, Campbell Scott, Steve Weber, Annette O'Toole, and I got to go on set one day, and I was like, I just was curious to see how it is. And my old man's like, "They're long, boring days. It's not what you think it is." And at one point, I'm just kind of just standing around. I'm like, I'm 13. I've got a giant flat top. I've got all sorts of stuff shaved into my head. I got a gold rope earring. And Charles Durning comes over and he goes, "What happened? Did you have a fight with your barber?" I was like, "No." And he goes, "So your old man says you want to be an actor, right?" It says, "Well, yeah, just, I've always been curious about it." So he goes, "Here, you can run lines with me." So he gave me
Oh,
the
that's
script,
so cool.
and he says, "When I forget the lines, I'll just say a line. You just read it back to me." And we weren't supposed to be in the house that they were filming unless you were crew. So I'm just
Yeah.
kind of standing outside, and he just came out and he grabbed me and he put me in the corner and he goes, "Don't say a word. Just shut up and listen." And it was like a 3-page, like it was a fight. So he plays Honey Fitz and he has a falling out with Joe Kennedy Sr. It's
And you
it's
said this is Charles Durning? Is that correct?
Charles Durning. So
Wow.
I get to watch the whole thing. And the first take he did, I was just blown away. And everyone was, and I just right off the bat, like, I want to do this. I don't know why, but I wanted to do that. And afterwards I started taking classes. I did like a lot of small black box theater, and I really wasn't keen on time. Like I did a bunch of plays that even my friends didn't know that I did. And it wasn't until one of them
Because
found
you
out
were embarrassed? Or
Well,
it just
yeah.
it wasn't the Southie thing to do?
A bit of both. And I wasn't quite
Yeah.
sure, if I was good enough. And one of them didn't find out until they saw a flyer for it. And it had my name on it. He's like, "Hey, there's some other guy with your name doing a play. It's not you, is it?" And of course, I don't have a very good poker face. But there was
No.
just there's something about it. And I just, it's not it's very for personal reasons. I don't know. I just like the fact of I love the idea of storytelling. I love how they
Mhm.
make stuff. Like whenever they make a movie, I would much rather watch the behind the scenes stuff than the actual movie. I love being able to see that, and I love
Yeah.
being a part of that too. And I don't know. It's just something about it.
Did you ever think about going in, because this is how I started on the production end of things. Did you ever think about, I don't need to be in front of the camera. I like how things are made. Did that sound appealing to you? Or
I
did it?
I did think about that, but again, I didn't have the I wasn't aware of all the opportunities. I wasn't aware that I could be a PA. Later on, when it was, I was starting to get a little too old for the PAs, I guess. They were looking for the younger kids to
Yeah.
pay them peanuts. There really weren't a ton of PA jobs to do. I think some of it was just kind of ignorance on my part too. But
Yeah.
again, I just didn't know. I didn't know any other actors. No one growing up at that point. This is all before Good Will Hunting. When that came out, then of course everyone was an actor. Everyone's in film now.
Michael Malvesti and
Yeah, I love Michael, and I watch his episode
such
too.
a good guy.
Yeah, he's a very good actor. I like him a lot.
He is.
But
You two must go up for a lot of the same stuff, do you?
We do, and it's strange because I'm not very tall. I'm 5'5". Mike's about like 4 feet taller than I am, and we do get a lot of the same parts to go out for. And he had mentioned that the commercial that he did, the mass hole commercial.
Yeah.
And I remember because they had like a change in the script at the last minute, and he sent me a text after I finished, and he goes, "Is it the same script?" And I says, "No, it's something different. They're going to give you that when you come in." Now I thought I did it, I thought he did a kick ass. Yeah, I was like, I got this. But he got it, and when you watch it, and again, it's just sometimes you can't take it personal. In the end, the right person gets the job.
Absolutely, I totally
And
agree. It's not a competition.
No, I think that we've been doing this long enough, and that we're old enough. We don't see it as a competition. I mean, like a friendly competition, but it's not like you against everyone. Especially if it's someone goes out for a role that they get that I went out for too. I'm happy that it's someone that I know.
Yes, agreed.
And 9 out of 10 times, it's someone who, I would say 10 out of 10 times, they deserve it. There was a look, they did something,
There's so many aspects that we have no control over that when someone gets it, you can't be like, when I think about the competitive part, there's just things you could not have done that would have filled in whatever they were looking for in that circumstance. And the fact that when he reached out to you and you gave him a heads up on the script, like that just shows how generous you are as an actor, and that it is for you not a competition, you're just trying to help each other out.
Well, I didn't even think of the, I didn't even think of like the, ramifications. Like what would have happened if I said, no, everything's, it just, they change it. It happens all the time,
But some people may have been like, no, everything's the same,
Yeah.
And maybe that's the uniqueness of also the Boston market, where people do, it is sort of it's a small community where people do try to hold each other up for the most part.
Yeah. And they were like, there were different, I wouldn't say cliques, but there were different circles, like some people work with this group of people, you're more close with other, you've done more stuff with them, but in the end, they all kind of intersect. Since COVID, we don't have like a lot of outings like we used to as much anymore. And plus, everyone's busy. So we don't really get a chance to kind of see and interact with everyone as much. But something like this is really cool. I think this is awesome.
No, for me, exactly. It's my way to connect with other actors who I haven't seen in person in years. And also I learned so much from my guests. And maybe I'll learn something from you. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely learning.
Yeah, this is cool. As we said, we were talking before we started taping. I think it's been a couple of years since I've actually seen you in person.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I see you online, but it's been before the pandemic, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
So we have a segment coming up later in the show. It's called The Kiss and Tell, where people share behind the scenes story of something that rubbed them the wrong way, inspire them or whatnot. In one word, can you tease what your kiss and tell will be about? No pressure.
One word.
One word. Some people use 5, but whatever.
I'll give you 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank and you. Awesome. And you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so how do you go from young guy keeping it secret that you're doing these like black box theater shows and you're doing some background work? How do you go from that to this?
I recommend 2 sets of visiting hours from 3 to 5 and 7 to 9.
Where's my daughter?
Downstairs in the basement.
I want to see her.
That is like, how do you, because you said you had done some background work, you followed your dad on the set and done the Charles Durning thing. But here you are on set, obviously with a large crew, but it's you Clint Eastwood and Sean Penn.
My
What
very
was that?
that was my very, very first speaking part ever. That's how I got my that was 23 years ago.
That's crazy.
Look how skinny I was. I had a full head of hair, it was all brown.
Are you?
No,
Your hair's not thinning. Your hair looks
Well,
good.
it's just the lighting and the
I got
spray.
it here.
But,
It's working.
the whole
Was it
that
terrifying?
yes, I'll get into the audition process. That's kind of the kiss and tell.
Okay.
But as far as this went to, I'll tell you my drive on set. I was so nervous. I actually pulled over and I threw up.
Oh,
And I was very close to telling them that I can't do this.
I've
I
had
can't.
moments like that. I get that.
Yeah, because Sean Penn and Gary Oldman are like two of the people on my bucket list. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie State of Grace.
Oh, I did. Just watched it again recently.
I love that movie. I know it's a
great.
very underrated movie. It came out the same weekend that Goodfellas did in the movie theater. So
That's right. That's why it didn't do well.
It
But we
didn't do
just
well
did
at
it on
all.
my ejectable show, not my other show that we do.
But and it was, I think, it's a travesty that Gary Oldman didn't get at least nominated for that
he's
role. I mean,
great
he was.
in that
It
role.
might be one of the best things he's ever done.
Agreed.
And and also it's Clint Eastwood. He's an icon. He's a legend. And the night before the movie, before I shot, I was supposed to go to sleep early. I didn't because Heartbreak Ridge was on. So getting on set.
Oh, and just for those who didn't know, I didn't mention what film it is. It's Mystic River, everybody.
Mystic River, yes.
Because I didn't have the credit there. But yeah, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Kevin Bacon, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, yeah. And I think this was like the first big movie to film in Boston. Like the first, well, no, they had shot other movies before that. I was extras in that one. But I think this movie, because, it was nominated for all sorts of Academy Awards. It won 2.
What did it win for? I don't remember.
Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor.
For Sean Penn, Best Actor?
Yep. And Tim Robbins for Best Supporting, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And so I think that kind of solidified Boston on the map. Like, this is the place that you guys can make some really good films.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just information overload. There's Clint Eastwood, who looks like he's 7 feet tall in real life. There's Sean Penn.
Did you have a callback with Clint Eastwood in the room?
No. Well, it's part of the kiss. I might as well just get it out of the way. So
yeah, whatever. We'll come up with another kiss and tell. I don't want to screw you up.
Oh, I've got another one. So
okay, good.
So I was taking classes with Peter Kelly.
Oh yeah,
and he's affiliated with CP Casting with Carolyn Pickman.
Mhm.
So we all heard the rumors that Mystic River was going to start filming, and I begged him because I'm not union, and I did a couple auditions for Carolyn, and I was terrible. And I said, "Is there any way just to get a read? I just want to read for something. I don't expect to get anything." So they gave me a scene. It was just 2 lines. That's all it was. And then I got a call back for that, and this is going to be a recurring theme too. I'm sitting waiting to do the call back, and Carolyn comes out and says, "What are you here for?" I'm for this guy. Well, why don't you read for this instead? And it was the role of the funeral director. So I had a couple minutes. I read it, blah, blah, blah. And
did that make you nervous? That sudden, like, oh, I got to do something else that I don't know very well.
Oh, a little. But I saw this kind of like, this is not, because you always hear stuff like that. People went out for an audition and then they get, "Hey, why don't you read for this instead?"
Sure.
And sometimes it's bigger than you thought it was or less. But in the end, it's like I said, there's no small roles, just small actors. So I read for that. And then I found out that I was getting a callback. Now, I had just had knee surgery done. I had ripped my patella tendon off my kneecap in both places. I had a plate and 3 bolts holding my leg together for about a year. And I just got it off, and I was still just kind of learning how to walk. So the audition was in one of those buildings inside Funeral Hall. It had production office. It was in the very, very top. Okay. So I got out of work early. I specifically left an hour early before the audition. And of course, there's not a parking spot to be found. So finally I made it to the roof of this parking lot that's right there. Elevator's not working.
Oh my God.
Everything just happened. I'm sweating. I'm trying to compose myself. So I'm sitting in the room, like, I got a suit on and I'm all set to go. And I go in the room and it's Carolyn Pickman. It's a reader. There's someone working camera, and it's Phyllis Huffman, who was the head of casting for Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
She's there in the room. So I'm halfway doing the scene. And I don't even get the sentence out. And she just says, "Thank you." So
I screwed up.
for anyone who doesn't know, if you get a thank you, or that, that they cut you off during an audition, that's kiss death.
It sounds like it would be.
Yeah. So I just didn't know what to say. And I just, blank face. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Have a nice afternoon. I walked out and I panicked. I freaked.
Oh.
And I called my acting coach, Peter Kelly. I'm like, Pete, they just cut me off halfway, because I had met with them. I worked the scene with him. And he said, "What would you have done differently?" I said, "Nothing. I wouldn't have done a thing differently.
So you felt good about what you were doing.
Absolutely. And but then again, I was still kind of new to this. So even now, I still can't. It's tough for me to gauge what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not just the only one. So, like any true South Bostonian, whenever, times are tough, I did what any normal person would have done. I went out and I drowned my sorrows that evening. And this is when cell phones, it was my brand new cell phone. It was a Nokia phone.
Yeah.
And the phone rang and I just kind of ignored it. And now it's like 1:30 in the morning and I'm heading home. And I see that there's a voice message and it's Peter Kelly. And he says, "You made the cut, because you and 10 other actors ready for that scene, because whether or not you got the role, you're my hero, because in 2 days, Clint Eastwood's going to watch you act in a room." So that was, I didn't expect that. And they said,
that means that they've got like 5-10 actors or whatever, and they're going to send them to be considered by Clint Eastwood.
Yes. So he'll sit in a room with Phyllis Huffman. They'll go over who they like, who they don't like, or who works and all that. And he said, "If you do get it, you'll probably hear with about 2 weeks." A month went by. And I just happened to be just driving one night. Phone rings about 10 o'clock at night. And it's Peter Kelly. He says, "What are you doing?" I says, "Just driving home." He goes, "Are you sitting down?" "Well, yes. It's tough to drive a car when I'm standing up." He says, "You got it." And the yell that I was just, I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it. And it was just a surreal moment.
Huge.
And I remember we shot at this funeral home in East Boston called Rapino's. So I got on set. They put my wardrobe on and they come up with the tie and all that stuff. And one of the PAs gives me a contract. And of course I was stupid. She said, "Oh yeah, we just signed this, for your payment and fee and all that stuff." I'm like, "Oh no, don't. I don't want it. Don't worry about it." I'm just
like, don't pay me. I'll do it for you.
Yeah, don't. Absolutely. And I still feel, sometimes I still feel the same way. I don't do this for the money. Money is nice. The money is very, very nice. Absolutely. But I said, no, it's okay. And then she looked at me and she left. And then one of the producers just comes through and he goes, "Are you trying to renegotiate your contract?" I'm like,
"Oh," you're like, "No,
no, sir. What I'm saying is, like, this is my very first film. I don't want the money. This is payment enough." It's like, you don't understand. 3 weeks from now, it's going to be my birthday. Like, this is the best birthday present I'll ever get. He just gave me the stink eye and he left. And then a couple of minutes later on, knock on the door. And guess who it is?
Clint Eastwood?
Yep.
No way.
And he says, "I heard it's very admirable, but do us a favor. Just take the money.
Sign the goddamn thing.
Spend it whatever you want. If you want, you can give it back to me. Just take the money."
Oh, that's amazing.
I said, "I didn't mean it." He goes, "I get it. I understand." And at one point before we go in, he was like, "Now, when we say Sean, we're not going to be talking about you," which could be the other Sean. But not that you're not important. So he'll be number 1 and you'll be number 2. And at one point, he goes, "Hey, come outside." And we're outside. It was Paris Street in East Boston. And as soon as you go out, there's got to be at least 1,000 people out there with cameras. So everyone's just taking pictures.
Yeah.
And Clint Eastwood put his arm around me and said, "Smile nice for the camera."
Do you have that picture?
No, I don't. I didn't have it. People just taking pictures. I was afraid to take anything. And then later on, we did the whole scene with Sean Penn. We did like his takes and all that stuff. And at one, we got like the medium shots. We do all his coverage first, and it just a lot of people don't realize, like, if you're a big movie star, when it's your coverage, sometimes they're not there, and it's not just because they feel it's beneath them. They're probably off to do another shot. And at one point, it looked like I was just going to read with someone else. And that's fine. And out of nowhere, in walks Sean Penn, and he stands behind the camera, and he does this for the eye line. We do about 7 takes. It was awesome. And at one point, we have a break. He's downstairs, and his assistant hands him the phone. And he goes, Mr. Penn, it's Mr. Ed Norton on the phone for you. He's talking to Ed Norton on the phone. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just down here in Massachusetts. I'm doing this little film with Clint Eastwood, Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon. Should be pretty good. So, like, everything about it was surreal. And then the day ends.
It sounds like he was cool with you, Penn. He had some heavy lifting to do, though, in the scene.
He absolutely does. And it's not like I didn't have a problem with him at all. It's just like, again, this is his movie.
Yes.
The last thing he wants to do is talk to me. He's got 8 other things he's got to worry about. So, again, excuse me, talk to them when you're spoken to, unless you get a rapport. And it's not personal because they've got like 8 million things to do.
Especially because he's going down and doing one of the most emotional scenes in the film with you.
And I absolutely get that. I absolutely get that. So we end up, because Clint Eastwood, if you don't know, he always shoots under budget, and he always shoots under the schedule. It's just a machine.
Yeah.
He never says action. He never says cut.
Love that.
It's go and stop. Or
did you like that?
I did. And
you had nothing to compare it to.
No, but he had said something to me too, because he said, "All right, fellas, and go." And I waited a second. I gave it a beat, because I like how you waited the beat. It helps with the editing. Now, I didn't even think about that. I got nervous and I forgot the first line. But he thought I waited. So, of course, I'm like, absolutely, Mr. Eastwood, you're right. Thank you, sir. That to this day, anytime I get the direction for action, I always wait a beat, because it helps with the editing. And that way you just, you give yourself a second, and then you get right into it.
Compose yourself and get
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the day ends, we shoot through dinner, and he says, all right, congratulations on your first day, blah, blah, blah. I shook Sean Penn's hand as he left. And he says, all right, well, we're having chow down the street at this hall, and you come by for chow. I'm like, no, that. He goes, I want to see you there. I'm like, okay. So I changed. The entire crew's there and some of the cast, and it was like a church hall. And he went up to every single person and he asked them, how was their day? Did they have everything they need? Do they need anything for tomorrow? Is there anything that he needs them to do?
Wow.
And he came over and we talked to me for 10 minutes, but of course I don't remember much of the conversation.
Of course.
Because it's just like, I just did a scene with Sean Penn. Clint Eastwood is watching me eat ziti right now. And, and I waited till the whole crew, they wrapped up. It was like military precision. They moved the whole set, all the trailers, they were gone. And I think I must have hung around the street and walked up and down for a good 45 minutes.
You must have been buzzing. You must have been.
I just couldn't process. I couldn't believe that it happened.
And just to be a part of a movie that ended up having such a legacy. And like, I'm a huge Dead Man Walking fan. So to work with Sean Penn, my God.
Yeah. But it was a surreal experience. And then, of course, I thought, well, I've got my first big speaking part, opposite Sean Penn, Oscar, here we go. Got to quit my day job any day.
Of course.
And then for 3 years, I had lots of auditions. And I didn't book a single gig for 3 years after I did that movie.
It's humbling.
Yep. Very humbling. Very humbling. The best story about that is I did a film with Tony V. Do you know who Tony V is?
I do. I know his name. Is he a comedian?
Local comic. Yes, he's a comedian. He's done a lot of acting work, and he was one of the series regulars for Brotherhood. And, so we're sitting there, it's one of those things where, like, I was working on the Brotherhood for 3 seasons. I had my own trailer. I'm eating prime rib and some fancy trailer. And tomorrow I'm going to be performing at the Elks Lodge in Keene, New Hampshire, in front of 20 people. This is the business that we've chosen. That's the perfect statement of it. That's it.
Yeah.
For that.
gotta whether you're there for the right reason is to do it because you love it and not
Right.
because of whatever fame it might bring you or attention.
Yeah.
So what was, you said it was a few years. So eventually you end up on can I show another one? I don't want to
Sure.
do only clips, but
The greatest hits.
This is a pretty big one.
There ain't nothing left to you people. So maybe you just don't understand who the fuck I am.
Sean, easy, huh?
Don't easy, Frank. Shut the fuck up. Fucking flip ahead.
I'm glad the plastic surgery worked because you can't even tell how beaten up you got.
Yeah, I went from a 6 to a 10. It was great.
Wow.
Thank you.
But you were nothing like this guy, and you did you're so good in this role. Because I think like me, you feel vulnerable sometimes, like in these audition processes.
Yeah.
And whenever I see anything you filmed, I don't see that at all. You were completely dropped in, completely confident. You are these characters and so natural. So what was this experience? Like, did you do a lot of training in between the two? Because you said you'd done stage before that other one. And what is your training in general, and what led to this from there?
Training, as far as that goes, I took
I know you're saying Peter Kelly and
Peter Kelly. I studied with Dorothy Brodesser. I did some stuff with Frank Storis at the Actors Workshop that used to be in by the Commons. I did a lot of stuff, and anyone that would have me, I got to do all sorts of student films. Someone who had $50 and a Super 8 camera and says, "By the way, we don't have a script. We're just gonna shoot this."
You just wanted to act, and you understood that being in front of the camera was building experience.
Yeah, it was training. It was absolute training. And I will say the nice thing about studying with Peter Kelly is not only does he give you, he breaks down the script, scene study and all that too. Forgetting the notion of character, it's how is this you in the situation that you would never be in. But he taught us the technical aspects of, before knowing your marks, getting comfortable with your props. So if you're going to be sitting in a chair for a scene, make sure you get a chance to sit there maybe half hour before you shoot, get comfortable, get familiar, figure all that stuff out. All the moment before stuff, which usually just kind of goes out the window as soon as they say action. This was another situation where I went in for a callback for something else. And while I was sitting there, I was handed this. So initially, the part
this
that I
Equalizer, for those who don't know.
Yep. So there was one scene where there's a character named Ralphie. He's a guy, he works at this Home Depot style store that Denzel Washington's character works at, and he wants to be a security guard. So Denzel is helping him train and all that stuff. And just out of the blue, he just quits. And he comes in and goes, "Where's Ralphie?" And this guy behind the desk, and he goes, "He quit. He just called, didn't give a notice. Kids." That was the two lines, and this was my callback for it.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and Angela Perry from Boston Casting says, "Hey, you're a short guy, right?" I says, "Yes."
Oh, that's right, because that line.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm 5'5", a whole whopping 5'5", and 5'7" with the heels. And so she's like, "Yeah, he's a short Irish guy. He's kind of a gangster and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And hey, give yourself 5 minutes to read for this." I'm like, wow.
And the scene before they walk in, they're like, "Don't call him," what is it? Like, "Don't call him Shorty" or something?
Little John. Don't call him Little John.
Okay.
So I did that audition. I had another callback for that. And then on a Friday, which I happen to have the day off, Angela Perry from Boston Casting calls me and says, "What are you doing right now?" I says, "Nothing." She goes, "We need you to come in right away." Antoine Fuqua, who was the director, goes, "He is here. He wants you to come in, and this is your second callback." So of course I'm like,
"Oh wow!"
But I had every night. I didn't expect to get it, to be honest with you. Because I know that she had mentioned that they were still looking at some people from LA and some people from New York to get that, and that makes sense. And then. So every night for about a week before I got that phone call, I would just run the scene through my head like 20 times. I just kept doing it. And so I go in, there's Antoine Fuqua, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?" And he's a giant of a guy. And so this is your office. So what would you be doing? Because, I said, "Well, probably sit at the desk, with my feet up. I wouldn't be, respectful to these guys. I kind of think that they're beneath me. Because, all right. He pulls to the desk. Oh, put your feet up. And he goes, we had a bit for like, here, take a rubber band and just kind of.
Oh, I like that in the film.
Yeah. And so we did it like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times. And he asked me to leave and come back. And we did it. And he got up, shook my hand, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 weeks later on, I got the phone call that I did it. And then they said we want you to do stunt training for it. They did use a stunt man, but I did most of my own stunts, as they say. And at one point they cut the scene out. They cut part of the scene out too. And it makes sense because there's another like page and a half of a tirade. I just it was a really bad, like Archie Bunker moment about, every particular ethnic group and why they were terrible and that stuff. But at the end, there's a close up on my teeth. So they made a broken gum line where all my teeth are gone. Because when the scene ends, you see him picking my teeth out of his hand.
Oh my God.
So we had done a scene. We figured out how to do the training and all that stuff. And then before that, I was actually going to work with the guy, Martin Chokash, the guy who plays the villain, who's fantastic actor, very, very nice guy. So quick, funny story. So they wanted me to have like a sit down with him, just a meet and greet, go over the scene a couple of times. So we're waiting. And finally, like, well, we might have to reschedule this because he's just getting off of a plane. I'm like, oh, it's okay. And then out of nowhere, I see this big, giant, tall guy come over and he says hello to everybody. And he goes into the room and the door shuts. And the guy says, all right, you can go in there now if you'd like. I'm like, all right, the door is still shut. Because, well, there's a knob. You can twist, push in, push out, and it opens the door. I'm like, all right. So I open the door, and who am I face to face with? Mr. Denzel Washington himself. And he says, are you Looney? Are you Looney Dog? That's you. And he's got a Yankees hat on. He goes, oh, don't mind this. Can you count to 23? And, I gave him a handshake. I don't know if he went in for the hug, but I did. And it was a very awkward moment, but it was funny. And we talked for like 15, 20 minutes about baseball, about Boston, because his wife is from Boston. She's a singer. And he was going on and on about the Yankees. And I wish I had the chance to talk to him afterwards because that year the Red Sox won the World Series. But we rehearsed the fight scene twice. And on the day of shoot, like there's one scene where I get hit in the head with an ashtray. It's a rubber ashtray. But like they wanted, I'm like, sure, hit me. And after an hour or so getting hit with the rubber ashtray, it's,
it can't be comfortable.
No. You get no brain, no pain, as they say. but at one point I did get a knee to the face for real. I did get punched in the face by it. It happens.
I'm sure. Like looking at that, I don't see how you could not. Yeah.
I actually did a movie where I actually fractured my nose and ended up getting 2 stitches over my eyebrow.
Oh my God.
But it's straight on my nose. It's great. But at one point, it's like he hit me for the second time because I can't hit you anymore, Sean. I'm like, oh, come on. I got up early. You got to hit me. Come on, let's do it. And the great thing about that was because David Harbour's in that scene. This is pre-Stranger Things. And he was doing a TV show called The Newsroom, which was on HBO with Jeff Bridges, Sam Waterston. So we were up just kind of, they were all super cool in between takes. They were just like, hey, I was sitting in the corner by myself, like, come here. We got a bowl of grapes. So what's going on? What are you up to? And super cool. And after we wrapped the scene, Martin Chokash came over. He goes, I'm going to give you my cell phone number. I owe you a drink and let me know. And I never get a chance to get a drink with him because he was super busy, but I did sit and have a drink with him at the wrap party. But when I was leaving, Dave Harbour said, hey, Sean, good job. Congratulations, man. Got up and, shook hands. And it was just super cool. Another surreal moment. Fun experience. I loved it.
It's nice to hear that people were so good and genuine and so supportive of you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun to do. It's play the bad guy and get the crap beat out of you too.
Again, though, because this is a big movie, huge actors. Again, did you feel it? Or because of your experience with Mystic River, did you feel that this experience was going to launch you? Or were you like, okay, this was cool, this experience as it was. If something else happens, great. If not, it is what it is.
I would say a bit of both. And I think for those of you who aren't familiar with the movie, so Denzel Washington plays like an ex-CIA operative who's kind of like, retired. He's become a civilian. No one knows who he is. And he accidentally, well, I wouldn't say accidentally. He takes out these 5 Russian gangsters. So the big mobsters over in Moscow send their enforcer over here to find out what's going on. So this is like his second appearance. So this shows that he's a tough guy to be, he's not a guy to be reckoned with. So if this scene looks stupid, if it falls flat, he loses a bit of his edge. So it was an important scene. So it was more so, I was more focused on making sure that the hits look real, which they looked really, really great. But the punches and all that stuff. And
it's brutal.
Yeah, but it was fun. But I was more at the time. I was more focused on just doing a good job,
Sure.
which is what I try to do every job. And if it if it elevated my career, if it got me more work, absolutely. I think it helped. It certainly helped. I do get occasionally I do get recognized for that, and I got to tell you, it feels a little weird.
Does it?
It feels a little weird. I've had some nice interactions with some people, but I've had some real creepy interactions too.
Well, you're not the most charming character either.
No, but it's just
is it in that regard that the people are kind of weird, or
no? It's just like like right after we did Defending Jacob, I had a couple of people reach out to me when I was on Twitter. I mean, everyone was on Twitter before, whatever.
Yeah.
And they kept, oh, you were great in Defending Jacob. What was Chris Evans like? Blah, 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 blah. And then I know someone who worked on set that this one person had reached out to them and said they were flying into Massachusetts. Could they meet them at the airport so they could drive them to Chris Evans' house?
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're working with actors at that level with, they have such crazy fans, they'll look for any crack in the surface to get closer to that person.
Yeah.
So I imagine.
But I will say that the last day that I shot was the day that Avengers Endgame came out. And it was a very, very, very hot day. So, of course, he's Captain America. And we had our first lunch. There's 100 kids outside, all dressed up as Captain America. And he went out and he talked to every single one of those kids.
Oh, that is cool. That's really cool. Well, then, since we're talking about this, so I believe this is like the next pretty large role for you that came after Equalizer. Again, a few years in between, but this is a really large recurring role in this show. How many episodes are you in?
3. It was initially 4. They did cut out a scene. And here's another recurring scene. This was another part that I got when I was doing a callback for something else. So this is one of those things, and you've gotten that before, where like sometimes they send out, all right, here are the roles that we're looking for. Pick one or choose one of these 2 that you think you might be good for.
Which any other market that does not happen, and that is unique to Boston.
Correct. And this is what kind of saved our bacon a little bit. So one of the roles was this Detective Peterson guy. The role that I ended up getting. By the way, you were fantastic at Defending Jacob. I wish you were in it more. And it would have been great if you were part of like LaJudas's team, like during the whole trial. That would have been awesome. I would have loved that.
That was one of those jobs where I slept 1 hour that whole night before we shot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what my issue was. So I did not feel that great. And Chris Evans had this kind of action thing he had to do with his lines, and they had to move a table for the camera. And he was screwing up his lines, and I just felt the pressure. I don't know. I didn't feel so good about that one.
I didn't notice that at all. I thought you would just, again, I think you're a giant inspiration to me because you've done a ton of work. It's all great, consistent work, and you could do it all. You have fantastic range. I mean, just look at the resume, all the different characters and stuff. No, but seriously, and it's great to see that, that it's possible for us to do that,
Well, looking at the opportunities you've had and preparing for this, I am just so, and I don't mean to like just kind of give it back to you, but I mean it sincerely. The level of characters that you've held on screen, like the Equalizer, like this Defending Jacob, and then considering the Mystic River was your first role and you were holding your own in a big way.
Yeah.
Opposite these legends like that. Yeah. Like that, I don't know. I think I would have crumbled under that kind of weight.
I almost did.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't. But I think for for the Mystic River line, I actually went back and read the book. So his character was visibly nervous because of who he's dealing with. Because if you read the book, so that Sean Penn's character is a former gangster.
Okay.
And then, you know, everyone wants to see my dad, the guy who runs the funeral home, but he's not there. So he's stuck with me. In the book, they go into a little more detail that he really didn't want anything to do with me and that he made me nervous and uncomfortable. But I was already nervous and uncomfortable anyway, so it worked out great.
So, yeah, the distance between you two. But
yeah.
But back to defending Jacob, you said they threw another audition opportunity at you, and that's how this came about?
Yeah. So there's one scene that shortly after, I don't want to ruin this, but the series
They've had
involves,
years to see
yeah.
it.
All right. Sorry, kids. You know, spoiler alert. So it involves oh God, Chris Evans plays a district attorney. A district attorney.
He does it forever.
Yes. So one of his son's classmates is found murdered, and eventually it turns out that it looks like his son might have done it. So shortly after the boy is murdered, they go to the parents' house, you know, to offer their condolences.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy comes up and goes, "Hey, any leads?" But it's just a couple. I mean, it's still a great part to get.
Any part is great to get.
Absolutely. These pretzels are making me thirsty. He went that way. Or
no, exactly.
The head
you want
nod.
another one?
Yes, absolutely. Well, how about this? Ready? No.
That's great. And
yeah,
those are
exactly.
harder. Those
Yes.
are remarkably harder than anything.
The worst. 4 pages of dialogue are much easier to do than just the one line because you screw it up every goddamn time. Every time.
Absolutely.
So I went in to read for a callback for that. And I remember I had asked, and I shouldn't have asked. It was stupid of me. So I said, "Hey, is there any way that I could read for this Detective Peterson part?" And they said, "No, Sean. They're going to get someone from New York or LA to read for that. So just put it out of your head." Now, again, I had printed out that script, and in between going back reading for that, I read that part every night for a couple of weeks. So I went in and I read it, and then of course one says, "You know what? You should probably read for that cop, Peterson. Here's the scene. Give yourself a couple minutes of fun." I says, "No, I got it." Like, what? Because yeah, I got it. Like, I read it before. And I mean to come across as an ass, but like I was like, I got it. Like, what do you mean you got it?
No, they must have been impressed.
Yeah. So I did it. And then I got another call back for that. And then which lets us to, for those who aren't familiar, it was a Marriott hotel in Burlington,
I
Massachusetts.
remember. And this process had been going on for a while.
A long time. A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at one point, like,
the callback process.
I think they delayed production by a couple of months because they still hadn't cast everybody.
Yeah, I had auditioned for this like a while before, or maybe this came and then we had another callback. I forget how it happened, but it was really weird.
Yeah, it was like 3 months from when I auditioned the second time to when we actually shot. So again, that's when I had my little panic attack, waiting to have my, you know, call back in front of the director and the showrunner, and you were so gracious to help me. Thank you again.
No,
and but it was kind of funny because the director is Norwegian, and it's Mark Bombeck, who was the writer and showrunner. So we do it, and halfway during the audition, he stops. "Well, stop. I don't mean to make fun of him, but he goes, the accent, it's weird. The accent is weird." And Angela's there. She's like, "Oh, it's a Boston, it's a local dialect." And Mark Bombeck said, "It's some of the characters." So like, "I can lose the accent if you want." No, it is local. We will keep it. Okay, I like it. And then later on, and you know, yes, it is much better. Yeah,
it's the authenticity of it. It's so good. It makes it so much more real.
A little bit, but also it takes place in Newton, Massachusetts. So not everyone kind of speaks with the Boston accent. You know, most people in Newton speak proper English, except, you know, I don't. But yeah, again, another situation where, you know, I don't know. I've been lucky a couple of times, and this was another great opportunity. It just happens, and it just goes to show that, you know, when you're doing stuff like this, you just have to expect the unexpected. You know,
and you've set your mind on the target and you went for it. And I've heard other people in the show that like, this is what I want. I'm going to go for it. You prepared for a role you weren't even being offered. Right. And it just worked out perfectly because you were ready for it. Ready to take it.
And I don't mean to come across as sounding, you know, pompous. It's just one of those things. It's just like, I thought it would just be good to memorize that part just for an exercise, just to do it, because someone had said, in between auditions, don't sit around waiting for the next audition. Read stuff that you did before, or read something that you would never get before, and just kind of, and this was all like right before COVID. So this is before we all had to master the self-tape. People were still doing the self-tapes, but we had to this is before all that. So absolutely, when you're not doing stuff, practice as if you're going to. It's the same thing.
And it absolutely paid off. I want to just show the clip for it, or a clip of it. Sure. You're so good in this. So good.
Thank you.
Like, here it is.
Thank you.
Let him through. The fuck's wrong with you? Sorry, Duff. It's been a shit morning. It's nothing worse than a kid. Grabbed away in her palms and knees, then got up and ran. Basically fucked the whole scene.
Phone's missing.
Wasn't in his backpack or on his person. We're thinking the perp might have taken it. Andy.
What?
I don't think he's our guy. I can't pin it down. It's just a hunch.
From the community?
You don't think I'm feeling it too? If you want us to try again...
I do.
You're the boss.
And you have those, the courtroom scene, the camera right on your eyeballs. The subtlety and the confidence that requires, it's like so good, and you're taking your time and you're just letting those moments breathe. It's so, I'm impressed, so impressed.
Thank you so much. Now, when you shot your scenes, that was at the same place in Devon's, in the Devon studio, correct? Okay,
yes.
So for those who don't know, Devon studio was an old military base. Yeah, it was they were airplane hangars essentially, and they've turned those into studios. So when you walk into these big giant studios, you see in these big giant, looks like a black box, and as soon as you step in there, it's a courtroom, and they've got the silk screens in either direction. Look at the window, so but the lighting is perfect. It looks like you're looking outside through the window of the new.
It's
courthouse.
Believable when you're in it. Yeah,
and that's one of the things that I love about doing this. I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm not. You're not losing the magic. If anything, it's wow. Look at this, and it's and we get to be a part of that. That's huge.
Oh, it's so exciting.
I love it. I love every second about it. Again, I would just like to go on set and just watch them do stuff. I don't have to do anything. I mean, it'd be nice to do it, but I'd be just as happy just to sit there and watch it.
That's part of the magic, though, of being, and I probably said this on the show before, of being on the East Coast, being in the Northeast, is there's so much charm to it still. It's not like we are immersed in the business. Everyone's in the business. Like you said, you have colleagues. They're like, oh my God, who are you going to work with? Like, can you get me an autograph? It's exciting to them. In LA, people will be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, good for you. What can you get me? It's just... Not everyone's in it, and it's still charming here.
No, and I know you said we've been doing this since the 90s. I'm sorry, it is 30 years, but we look fantastic for 30 years since then, Ian.
You are 2 months younger than me, so you have 2 months to get old like me.
Not by much, but again, we still have. We're not. I'm not saying that everyone in LA and New York is jaded, but you do see that a lot. But we still. I'm excited about this. This excites me. I love movies. I love TV. I love the whole aspect about it. It hasn't lost its magic on us. And I think that shows that.
And the business, obviously, right now is pretty frustrating because it's been pretty dead, but it's still very exciting to not know what's around the corner. Anything could happen. Nothing could happen. We're going to be ready for a ton more no's or no responses whatsoever. Yep. But it's still exciting. How are you surviving with the state of the business right now? Emotionally.
I mean, Jesus, I think at this point, initially, right after the initial lockdown happened, right around May, June, because that's when they started doing, all right, we're going to start doing auditions, and we're going to have you do self-tapes. Don't worry if the lighting and sounds, it'll be okay. But then when people started doing it, it was horrible. They're like, all right, guys, you got to get cracking with that. So again, I spoke to, who Michael Gibran is?
I don't think so.
He's a local actor. He's got a podcast. He actually moved down to Atlanta. He was one of the detectives in that scene, the interrogation scene. He was sitting out back talking to Chris Evans. He's a great local actor. And he had said to us, because every profession every year has a meeting where they talk about what's the new techniques about their industry, what's going to help them, what makes them better, or how to do the job. So everyone's kind of evolved except the actor. So the actor always has to have a little bit of technical savvy, but now the actor also has to be your own director. You have to be your lighting guy. You have to be your sound
editor.
guy, your editor. You have to do all that stuff. And as we had said before, sometimes if we don't have a reader, we have to act off of a sound recording. Or in my case, sometimes it's like making an awful cartoon. Well, I'll add my own voice in afterwards.
To not sound like you.
Yeah, it's just, we just have to think differently. And someone had said years ago, it was Mr. David Curtis himself.
The great David Curtis.
The great David Curtis. Quick story about that. So this kind of helps. So initially I had met him. We were sitting on the bench at Boston Casting for an audition that we didn't get. And, it was a couple lean years. And he's like, man, you goes, we just got to make our own stuff. We got to write our own stuff. You can get a cheap film crew nowadays with the cell phones, like this is like 2010. We could make movies and stuff like that. Now I have been kind of toying around with an idea. I tried writing. I can't write by myself. I can't. I need someone to rein me in. I need someone to kind of give me direction. And I just thought of this idea that not only I would like someone to help me, but also to be in this as well. And after I left the audition, it hit me. It's like, I just met the guy that I'm supposed to be doing this with. So I called him later on that night and said, hey, man, we always say, but let's hang out. Let's meet up. I got an idea for a project if you'd like to be a part of it, or not just hear me out. You could tell me how bad it is. So we met, and it turns out he had an idea that was very similar to it.
Oh, wow.
So we would meet like once, twice a week. We'd have a cocktail. And
Good for you for
but
doing
we
it.
would sit, write, make notes. And while we were doing that, because like we're gonna shoot a sizzle reel for it. We'll just shoot a scene so people know what it is. In the meantime, he had an idea for something else. I'm like, well, what is this? And now we're working on 3 different ideas now. We've got like a stockpile of ideas that could keep any studio busy for the next 5 to 6 years.
Listen up, people.
Yes. So in the meantime, it's just like, you got to write, you got to make your own stuff. It's starting to be like the 90s all over again, where, independent film is where it's at. If you
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I love the 90s because we were very fortunate enough to be we had a cultural renaissance. It was movie, music, television, it elevated, because then you had shows like The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under. There wasn't all like these dumb sitcoms and, books and writing. So it was just kind of like stuff made by our generation for us. It was like kind of like the 70s, like film. It was just like I don't know, it was just kind of a revamp, a revolution itself. So if you were able to get like a decent enough idea and you get like a film crew to do it, even if it wasn't the best movie in the world, but like if the bones are there and you went to show it to like a film festival, look at Sling Blade. Look at Napoleon Dynamite. Those were shorts. And they just hit, and they made them into features. Kevin Smith, Jon Favreau, all those.
Sam Raimi, but that's the 80s. But yeah.
Quentin Tarantino. Again, late 80s, early 90s. Who is that guy? But it was new ideas that we've never seen before, or a different version of those ideas, new directors. And then you had actors, and it was very much like the 70s. Not everyone in the 70s looked very handsome. Everyone looked like they just rolled out of bed.
Normal people.
Exactly. No one was a movie star. No one was, a model. And it was just normal, regular people. So I think at that point you had a slightly better shot than you would have maybe 10 years before. And I feel like this is very much like that right now. So I think that kind of,
because there's a void. There's nowhere else for us to go. I mean, there's some opportunities. Yeah, but
it's tough because we grew up in the era. Like, for me, one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world ever since I was a kid was go to the movies.
Oh, me too. Still is.
Do you remember there used to be a magazine? It was called Premiere Magazine.
Oh yeah, I got Premiere. Heck yeah!
And every May they came out with the summer movie issue. It was a double issue. I
used to get so excited for that.
And listed whether it was like a big studio or independent, and I would see all of them. I saw all of them. I used to save all my movie stubs too.
Me too. I still have a ton of them.
Yeah, I've got them buried somewhere. But like now, it's just kind of like. I think the lockdown kind of helped. I wouldn't say put the nail in the coffin. I think the door is closed. And I think
Yes.
that
You
it's
meant
going
more
to take
on the cinema experience.
correct. And I think
Yeah.
nowadays what they're doing now is like even if like, they're showing like older movies. Like recently, I went and saw they had another screening of High Fidelity, and at the end they had a Q&A with John Cusack.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you want to bring people to the theaters, you might have to give them just
More.
a little more. But also, and I'm not saying this to be a grumpy old man, I think that everyone's forgetting about this demographic. We're the people who still remember life before the internet, before cell phones, when movies were made to see in the theater. When
We
they
are
first
the
came
last
out.
people because the young people don't want to go to the movies unless it's a superhero movie. And
Correct.
there was a screening of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for the 50th anniversary recently.
Oh, God.
I went with my son and I was thinking, you would never see a movie like this on the big screen anymore. Just one more thing to top that off.
Yeah.
I went out to the concession stand to get some popcorn for my son, and the young concession guy behind the stand is like, "What are you here to see?" I'm like, "Oh, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for his 50th anniversary." He's like, "Oh, I haven't seen that. The only classics I've seen are the Home Alone movies." I'm like, "Oh my God." He's like, Home Alone 1 and 2. I'm like, I'm really old. Yeah.
My heart. Let me get my nitro pills. One
Does
second.
that make you feel so old?
Speaking of old, Home Alone came out 33 years ago yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, at his age, I would have thought that's a classic as well, I guess. I would have thought, oh, that's an old movie.
But the other thing too is, and again, not to sound like a grumpy old man again, but when we were his age, we were recording movies that we probably didn't see, movies that came out 30 years before we were born. Like, Here's Looking at You, Kid. Or, if you showed some kid a picture of, Marlon Brando as the Godfather holding the cat, they're not going to, who is that? I don't know. It looks like my grandfather. They're not going to throw those lines out.
Between you and me, I've never seen The Godfather 1 or 2. I saw 3. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Oh no, that's like watching Return of the Jedi and never seeing Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, who would ever do that? That's insane.
Well, I don't know, Ian. You saw Godfather 3, but you didn't see the first.
You can't tell them. Shh.
I won't tell anyone. Shh.
All right.
We'll edit this part out. Oh, but you have to set aside some time and watch it. I'm
My wife
you.
and I are like, she hasn't seen it either, but she has an excuse. She's European. But though it was huge there too.
Yes, I just saw It's a Wonderful Life for the first time 2 years ago.
What?
Yes,
that's even worse. And
I know.
Older, so I still have 20 years to see The Godfather.
Yes. Hello, my name's Sean, and I'm ashamed of the movie.
How were you born 2 months after me?
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry. We're equally just shameful. I need to ask you, and I probably interrupted you. So if you had something you wanted to add, what is your kiss and tell? I know you had to change it.
Okay, so my kiss and tell
was thank you, but I think you ended up telling that story.
Yes. So that was the whole thing with
casting.
Again, it was reading again for defending Jacob. Actually, I'll give you another one. It's because we just kind of went through all that stuff. So there's a movie that just came out recently. It's still on Amazon Prime. It's on Google and it's on YouTube, and it's called Any Day Now.
Oh, okay.
It's about it's a fictional account of the Gardner Museum heist that happened. For those you don't know, March 17th, 1990, $500 million worth of artwork was stolen from the Elizabeth Gardner Museum. Rembrandt's, veneers, and all sorts of stuff.
And a lot of documentaries on this, true crime documentaries.
Yep. So there was a local screenwriter, Eric Aronson, who, he said there was always an Ocean's 11 version of this movie, but he doesn't have that budget. So it's really cool. It takes place in the 90s. It's got an indies feel, and it looks and feels like an independent movie.
With a Guilfoyle. I can't say
Paul
his name.
Paul Guilfoyle. So he was like, I know it's those goddamn Irish names, Ian, right?
Damn it.
So right before the lockdown happened, I got an audition to read for a couple of things. But there were a couple of other people that I know that read for it, and it almost seems like it wasn't seen for the movie that and that happens too sometimes. Sometimes you get like when you're reading for an audition, it's not a scene from that movie. They just
like dummy sides or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly like that. So it kind of seemed like that. So I auditioned twice, and then the lockdown happened, and then We got another self-tape for it. And then 6 months went by, nothing. And then we got another self-tape for that again too. And it was slightly different. And I remember this again, I was still trying to master the self-tapes. I must have did 19 takes of this one particular scene. I was just driving myself mad.
That's not that many takes.
Well,
100.
Well, I mean, I was trying to whittle it down. And again, it's just like, and I watched each take. I still have a hard time gauging, what's a good take, what's not.
Yes.
So finally, I'm like, I can't anymore. I'm going to pick the best three or I think it's decent, or the sound's the same. Because as I was trying to do it for an hour and a half, every plane in the world was flying right over my kitchen where I was. Like I had to stop a bunch of times. I almost just said, all right, forget it. It's not going to happen. And then I got a phone call from Carolyn Pickman saying, well, they're interested in you. We want you to submit for this other thing. And it was just one line.
One of those again.
Yep. It was just one line, but this was the reverse. So I actually stuck with the first role that I got. I ended up being part of the crew.
Okay.
A guy by the name of Bob Ra. And now when I was first started taking the classes in acting, Paul Guilfoyle, who was in CSI, you name it, he's been in everything. He's done Broadway shows with Al Pacino.
Was he Basic Instinct? Like he's been in tons of things. Like
yes, he's in everything. And what I liked about him, he was like the local boy done good. He's done all sorts of roles. He's worked with everyone. He's been consistent. He's a working actor.
Dream career.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And, there was a time where I lost sight about what was going on. I thought that I should be doing the box office movies. I should be making, $150 million a year and everything would be fine. It would fix everything. Yeah. And right before the lockdown, I had another dry spell and I had to, I seriously thought about quitting and I had to go back and rethink, why did I start doing this in the first place? So I think if for me too, because I like to do this, it's not about being rich and famous. You're doing it because if someone said, all right, Sean, you can't do anymore, you're just going to get stuck with what you do, I would be miserable. I don't care if it's like a student film or a short film, or if someone wants to tape a camera to the front of the car and have me hang off the hood and read a couple lines, I'd rather do that. It's just fun to do. So
it's so fun.
And this was the first in-person callback that I had since the lockdown. So we're all sitting in this room. We've all got masks. We have to do the rapid COVID tests. And we're all kind of sitting there, all right, and like I knew everyone there. And a lot of people were reading for the same thing. And I was like, you know what? Even if I don't get this, it's cool. Like, now we're kind of back into things normal. Like we're having an in-person callback, an in-person audition. Yeah. And they said, well, if we decide anything, we'll let you know in about 2 weeks. 5 weeks go by. And I get a call from Carolyn Pickman and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, just.
It's always like that. What are you doing right now?
Yeah. She goes, are you busy? I was like, no, I'm not right now. No. She goes, well, hopefully you're not busy because you got it. So that was a great experience. I got a chance to meet and talk to Paul Guilfoyle and pick his brain. And he was telling us all stories about him filming in Europe, Alec Baldwin stories, Al Pacino stories, everything. It was just a really great experience. And it was one of those things where I didn't feel like, because I get to work with David Primor, Mike Bash, Taylor Gray. Oh, yeah. And the first night that we shot is a scene where I don't want to give it away, but we're in a convertible and it's October, it's cold. And we dare someone to jump into a pool to skinny dip. And while he's in there, we take his clothes and we drive away. So that was the first night that we all met. And it was like, because, whenever
breaks the ice.
Yeah.
Literally.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, it's cold outside, huh? Like anytime I show up on set, I feel like the new kid that moved into town and it's my first day of school. And you're just kind of like, oh, gee, I hope people like me. Yes. And it was weird. We had this, for some reason we hit it off. And at one point we were in the convertible and we're just kind of, just doing a couple dry runs. We're all just kind of chatting and all that stuff. And Guilfoyle just looked at us. He's like, yeah, we get ourselves a crew here. And right off of that, it was perfect.
That's so lovely.
They let us improvise and come up with stuff, and a lot of the stuff that we just came off the fly was in the movie. And it's one of those things like, and look, we've all had like long days on sets where we're just like, it's my call time is at 6. It's now 5 p.m. It's 2:00 in the morning. I just want to go home.
I want to be home.
We did a lot of night shoots, and
Yeah.
There wasn't one moment where I felt that I just want to go home. I was so bummed the last day that when we wrapped. I was
That
so
sounds like a
bummed.
dream. Can we see this movie? Because I've heard of it. I know
Yes.
it premiered in Boston, I guess. But
So
yeah.
So they're doing something different about this because it wasn't made through a studio. It was all independently made. The writer-director, Eric Aronson,
Hence the freedom you had on set.
yes, he financed this all in his own money.
Wow.
He was able to generate or get money. There are a couple of other people that help produce. Jan Eagleson, he's one of the producers in that too.
Oh yeah.
I love Jan. He's great. And so right now they're kind of playing around with it. They've had. It was at the Boston Film Festival 2024. It won audience favorite film.
Okay.
It won a couple of nominations. They had screenings of it in New York. They had screenings of it in LA. There's also going to be some screenings of it again. They just had some recent screenings there. It's like one of those things where they have like a screening of the movie, and then afterwards they have a Q&A with the director and some of the cast, particularly Paul Guilfoyle. And I will say it's one of those things like, I wish more people would see this movie because this guy deserves at least a nomination for his work. I'm not just saying that. It's excellent. It's fantastic. And the director said, I'm playing around with it because it's on Amazon Prime. It's on YouTube.
Oh, it is.
And
okay.
he goes, yeah, I could take it on and I could put it back up because I'm just kind of playing around with it because it's a whole new ball game. And it's not one of those things where like if you made a film where you've got about a year shelf life, as soon as it's edited, it's like, well, here's a year. Let's see who picks it up. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if it gets released in theaters and let's see how many people see it. And then, if it doesn't get like any big numbers after the first 3 weeks, it's yanked and that's it.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's comes out on video. Maybe it's on HBO. Maybe it never sees the light of day. It's different now. He could play around with it. So he's trying to figure that out. And I would not be surprised if it comes back in the theater, but he was talking about doing a screening in Mexico City. We're invited to do that. And also, a screening in Amsterdam too, which would be great. It would be fantastic. So, it's called Any Day Now. It's
I'll put the poster up too in editing.
Yeah. It's a great movie. The movie is exactly 88 minutes long. It's the amount of time that the thieves were in the museum. It's not a heist. It's not a heist movie. It's kind of like the backstory, but it's more just kind of like a relationship movie. There's a nice, kind of paternal father-son relationship. It's about, an old gangster who's kind of like at the pinnacle of his career and a young kid who's just kind of lost his place in the world. And the two of them meet.
Okay.
And it's a really nice story. There's some great dramatic moments and some of it's really, really funny. And I like that. The majority of the people who are in it are all local people just like us. So
yeah, Pridemore. You said David Pridemore's in there?
Yep.
Oh, he's one of the best.
Yep.
He's so good.
And he's another very, very versatile actor. Mike Basher's in that too. He's another very versatile actor too. But again, it was one of those experiences we all just hit it off. We didn't have to go out and hang out. It just clicked. We all just became instant friends. We were like brothers.
Dream.
Yeah.
Well, because like you're saying, like you arrive on set, and I often say it's like going to someone else's Thanksgiving dinner. You don't feel like you're part of the family, and you're just like, okay, I need to pretend I'm comfortable, but this is not comfortable. And this sounds like the dream opportunity.
Perfect.
Those are so few and far between, but when they happen, it's magic.
It was great.
Do you have any advice for? I don't want to keep you forever, but any advice for up and coming actors?
Advice. Well, I'll start off with a very famous quote that I got from Peter Kelly, but also, as I said before, my dad was a set medic. He was working on Meet Joe Black. And there was one particular scene, I had the day off, he said, come down. And there are thousands of women out front. And one of the PAs with the megaphone say, I assure you, Brad Pitt is not here today. Please disperse. So we drive in, and I wasn't quite sure who was going to be on set. My old man's like, all right, here's the bag. If I snap my fingers, I hold up free. This is the blue bag. We need that, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, if you see Anthony Hopkins on set, don't freak out. Just don't talk to him. Just leave him alone. I said, okay. So I'm like, this is, this is a few years after Signs of the Lambs came out,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of sitting there. It's a helicopter scene, it's just taking off and landing, and then I get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Anthony Hopkins,
Wow.
and he says hello, and I'm like, yeah.
Are you gonna eat me?
I didn't know what to say. I'm just gibberish. I'm like, yeah. And my father comes over and he goes, and it was so surreal because everyone that like gets to know him that calls him Tony, and everyone knows my dad. And my dad comes over and he goes, "Hey Tony, is this kid bothering you? Scram, kid, get out of here!" And like he gives me like a fake kick in the ass. And at one point, we're making some small talk, and we're having lunch at these picnic tables. And Anthony Hopkins comes over and says, "Might I join you gentlemen for lunch?" I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And at the very, very end, he had said, "So I understand you want to be an actor." I said, "Yes." So what should I do? And he goes, "Well, before you start your first step, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And the first step is the same for everybody, but the journey and the outcome is different for everybody. So, everyone, study, learn, go to school. If you can't go to school, you could take classes. And if you can't be in class, you can watch classes online. There's all sorts of stuff that you have online. It's amazing the stuff you have. But I would recommend, you could try online coaching first, but I would definitely recommend that, you actually try to find a physical class to interact with people. And just realize, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons for yourself, and if you love it, if you love it, you'll love it. Don't get discouraged, again, because I really didn't start doing this until I was 20, and I'm 43 years old now. I don't want to say
I know.
old.
I'm there too.
And again, it's just like, and the nice thing is sometimes people don't get their big breaks until later on in their career. And I think now you have to realize, you're not going to have like Burt Reynolds success. I'm dating myself. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
something. We're alive. He's not. So
what's who's a hip actor that the kids can relate to? You're not going to be Timothy Chalamet when you're 23. Most likely it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you could be Timothy Chalamet when you're 62, and that's fine. But again, I also think that the older you get, the more life experience you have, the better actor that you'll be.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said earlier too, like it just keeps it exciting. Like so many people have dropped off, they've burnt out, gotten jaded, or just like, because it does wear on you, but just stay available, keep your true life in perspective, family, friends, whatever. And then if things happen with this, then great.
I also think too, if you want to do this to be rich and famous, nowadays there are other things you can do to be rich and famous.
Rob an art, a museum.
Yeah. You could do that. You could be an influencer. You could do all sorts of stuff. You can make a lot of money online and not have to deal with all this stuff. But again, it's like, if you love it, you'll stick with it, and then again, you do it for the love of it. I like you said before, you don't really know how to do anything else. I don't know how to do anything else, and I don't want to do anything else. Like that line from Heat, I don't much want to do anything else.
Yeah. No, I have no backup plan.
Yeah.
Do you have any hocus pocus, anything that you do when you're on set to get in the zone, to, for good luck or whatever?
I don't know if there's hocus pocus, but I try not to eat anything dairy the first day that I'm filming. So just to make sure that everything stays down or nothing comes out. I think it's different on set. Again, just like anything else, you have to be, don't be an asshole. That goes without saying. Be respectable. And also, if you're just like a day player, sometimes that's what it is. And sometimes you just kind of hang back.
Sure.
And, sometimes the leads, they'll just kind of, I think people will kind of find you. Just kind of just let it happen around you. As far as like if that's part of the process, I think every process is different for every project. Because sometimes you don't know what the director's like, how much time you have, what level of collaboration you're allowed to have. Sometimes it's Shakespeare. You don't change a single word. Or so there are some directors, all right, this is great. It's great. Great job. We got a couple good takes. Let's play. Or, if there's anything, that happened recently on this untitled project that we're not supposed to discuss. I had a very, very, very fantastic experience on. A very open environment.
Oh, the one that we both are in?
Yes.
Can I say it? I'm going to say it. Can I say it? We
Say
can't
it.
say it. Let's just say
Okay.
Widow's Bay coming to Apple TV in May. I just did ADR for it, so I know I'm not.
You did.
Yeah,
Good
the
for you.
showrunner said it's gonna come out in May and trickle out 2 episodes, and then one will come. But it looks pretty good. They're happy.
What a relaxed set. An elaborate TV set. I think the cast is great, and I got to tick a few other people off my bucket list that I met on set. I don't know if I can say their names. I probably won't.
I didn't work with anyone. That's not fair. I was their very first scene of the whole production that they shot, and it was just me alone. Yes.
Oh, well, you'll be there in spirit. I'm telling you, everyone's going to know the name Ian Lyons after this comes out.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm excited to see it. That should be good.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see you. We won't mention your character.
Fingers crossed a minute.
Look, Apple TV, everyone, Widow's Bay in May. Yeah. There's also something else that you did, which was my first callback I had, first in-person audition I had since the pandemic, and the last one I've had since the pandemic, but it was for the new James L. Brooks film that you are in, Ella McKay, which I didn't book, but it was kind of cool to be in the room with James L. Brooks. Can you just quickly tell us about that?
Yes.
Coming out next month.
Yes, next month. I read for 8 different parts. Some of them are small, some kind of, blah, 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 whatever. It's a political comedy. I got the call back and I said, yeah, you're going to be in the room with James L. Brooks. No, there were like 3 things he wanted me to read for, and I had already submitted 4 different scenes. So you're in the room with James L. Brooks. So I did the first 3 things. He laughed.
Broadcast
he laughed everything.
News. I mean,
yes.
Huge. Yeah.
The Simpsons,
as good as it gets.
Anything.
Terms of endearment.
Classic, iconic TV and movies. So at one point I read it, goes, hey, read these 2 things, but I had already done that before, so I knew them in my head. So I had done 7 roles.
For you.
I left. They grabbed me before I went, goes, he wants you to come upstairs and read one more thing. So I did that. And again, driving home, I felt confident. It's like, even if I don't get that, I made James L. Brooks laugh. I mean, it wasn't.
There was like 5 people in that room. There were so many people. I'm like,
yeah,
I was thrown. It threw me.
Well, the thing is, too, is like I told my day job, I'm just gonna be gone for 45 minutes. It's from Boston to Rhode Island. It takes about 45 minutes to get there. I was there for an hour, so I was coming back. Hey, where are you? Oh, a little bit of car trouble. I'll be back shortly. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
they're gonna watch this, and you're so fired.
I hope.
I can't wait to see this movie because I love his work, and I can't wait to see you in it as well.
Thank you.
Everyone, keep an eye out for him in Widow's Bay, Ella McKay, and anything else. I mean, that's enough.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Okay.
Any day now on Apple. I think we're still on Apple TV, Amazon Prime. You can rent it on YouTube and Google. I think you'll love it. It's a great.
Okay, I will share that info for that too. Also, I wanted, when we were talking about Hocus Pocus and advice, I want to just remind people of what you said Peter Kelly told you if you're going to be seated in a chair or be standing in a room or whatever. Maybe just take a moment if you're able to like sit in that chair for a little bit, spend some time in that space before you shoot the scene. I think that's such good advice. I never heard that before, but I love it.
What do you do? Is there any tricks you can teach me?
I don't think so. I just try to know my lines. I just repeat my lines a million times. I don't know if that's good.
No, that's how I do it.
Yeah, just be prepared.
Boom,
Sleep the night before, because that's killed me a few times.
It is physically impossible for me to sleep the night before I shoot anything. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't that hurt you? Like I've slept for 6 minutes before something, and I'm sweating on set. Like I can't remember any words.
Yeah, there's been times I'm working on an hour's sleep, but it's coffee. It's coffee that gets me.
That makes me jittery and nervous. I don't know.
Well, after the first 12 cups, yes, for me anyway.
Okay, but no milk. You can't have milk in it.
I'll put a little splash of cream.
Dead things don't stay in. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a hypocrite.
Thank you so much for your time. It's absolutely great to see you and awesome talking to you.
Same here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on today. This is great.
I'm so grateful for you. I mean, you just gave me a lot of time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, like, share, tell your friends, and stalk Shawn Fitzgibbon. Maybe not stalk him. Just go see Ella, what's it called again? Ella
McKay.
Ella
Fitzgerald. Yes, it's a sequel to Ella Fitzgerald.
Sorry. I haven't used my brain recently. Anyway, thank you. Stand by for a second, Shawn. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, these are the parts I play, filling in plot holes with all sorts of rules.